The more you post on social media, the less happy you actually are. That was the title of a recent short that I've done. And it got quite a few views, for my little channel. And I wanted to expand on that to give you more perspective of why that is the case. I'm gonna riff on this today, so apologies to my editor ahead of time. He's gonna have to piece it all together later. But let's see what comes out of my head, because usually I make notes and stuff, right? But today we're just gonna go freestyle. So here we go. Basically, you see all these people online constantly posting reels, stories, posts, all that kind of stuff. In my opinion, these people that are constantly posting, they're not actually happy. If you're constantly posting, you're basically distracting yourself from reality. You're not being present with where you're at. I'm talking about posting personal things, personal updates, like where you're going, who you're with, what you're doing, what you're eating, all these food selfies. Like, we need to see that you're eating your third hamburger of the week. I don't want to know that. The point is that people get addicted to posting these things, especially stories today. They're constantly updating you on what they're doing, and you have to start thinking of, why are they doing all this? Why are they posting all this stuff? If you're that happy with your life, you wouldn't need to show everybody how happy you are all the time. And this is the first discrepancy I want you to start thinking about, is just because you see all these people posting all these glamorous photos, all these cool updates, all these fun things that they're doing, it doesn't mean they're actually happy internally. I'm losing my voice. So I'm gonna take this Ricola and hopefully it's gonna help my throat so I can finish this episode. I wish I could just continue talking while having this in my mouth, but okay, that's enough of that. No, my throat should be all healed now. Anyway, where was I? Whenever you see people posting all these glamorous posts of themselves and stories, they're usually trying to compensate for something. Usually, when you need excessive attention and validation from the external world, it's because you're not happy just being by yourself or living in the moment on your own without needing to tell anyone. That's actually one of the best things you can ask yourself, is like, when I'm doing X, do I feel like I enjoy doing X without needing to tell anyone else about it? That's how you know you're actually doing something that's aligned to you, that you enjoy, that actually fulfills you. But if you constantly have to tell someone about it, post a story about it, update someone else about it, then are you actually enjoying that activity or not? Of course, it's not black and white. You can enjoy the activity and still post. I'm not denying that at all. I'm just saying it's a good practice to start thinking about that. And another thing you want to ask yourself is, why are you constantly feeling the need to put your stuff out there publicly, your personal life? Why? It's because you want to get that dopamine hit. You're addicted to it. Face it. We're all addicted to it. It's just some of us are recognizing it and are limiting our usage of social media. But some people, they're so addicted to posting stories all the time that they're not even aware of why they're doing it. They're just on autopilot, constantly posting, constantly needing to get attention, get that dopamine hit. That's what posting all the time and getting those likes gives you. It gives you a bunch of dopamine. It makes you feel good for a moment. And then next day, you gotta replicate it again because you wanna continue getting that hit of dopamine. And so it's never going to be enough. It's like a heroin drug addict who, he starts doing heroin. It's like, I'm just going to do a little bit. But then he gets addicted to how he feels in that state. And he needs to keep upping the dosage all the time in order to feel the same high as he once did before with just a little bit of heroin. When you're posting things all the time, you're also comparing yourself and judging how you're looking to other people all the time. You were on the beach in your bikini and you posted that as a story. And now you're constantly thinking like, what are other people going to be thinking about me in this moment? You're no longer interacting in the real world. You're just thinking about like, how am I being perceived by others? So you're judging yourself about how someone else is judging you for you judging how you are judging you. The point is it's a never-ending game. Eventually, you're going to have to deal with the fact that there's no amount of dopamine that's going to help you live a fulfilled life. The other thing is that when you're posting stuff, you don't actually know what's true and what's not true. I'm a professional dancer. I'll post a video of myself dancing. I'll get very few likes. I'm not wearing, some kind of revealing clothes, and I'm not like promoting it all over. And I'll see another person that's like not that great of a dancer, but because they're wearing a skimpy outfit, they're going to get a ton of likes and a lot of messages, a lot of reach on these social media platforms because they're, quite frankly, very hot and attractive. This person who is not maybe a trained dancer is going to get more attention than me, who is a trained dancer. And so they might start believing that they are a great dancer, but they're not. And so it distorts your reality of what actually is true. You don't even know at this point what is real and what is not. Because if I'm posting something and I'm getting a bunch of likes, these are friends that are supporting me specifically. It has nothing to do with, am I actually doing something really good or not? Obviously, if you're excellent in a certain craft and you're posting that and you're getting likes and validation for that, that's probably real to a certain degree. But you, again, like I said, you have people that are complete frauds these days, and they're getting those likes and getting all that attention, not necessarily because they're good at something, but because they're, good looking. You constantly want to ask yourself, what is real and what is reality? And you want to see things as they really are. Usually, the more attention someone needs and the more validation they need from the external world, the more their self-esteem is shot. Think about it. If you have very high self-esteem, why would you feel the need to share everything publicly with everyone all the time? And by the way, I am not talking about using social media for business. I'm talking about like your personal stuff, like sharing personal details about your life. If you have a business account, that's very different. Of course, you're going to post a lot, you're going to share things. That's a different thing, in my opinion. You are reaching people for a specific reason for your work. But if you're constantly needing to post things on the external world of your personal life, then you might want to figure out why you're doing that and what's going on with you internally. You want to connect with your body and try to see, are you escaping something that you actually need to deal with? It's very similar to distracting yourself with like alcohol or drugs or excessively traveling or whatever it is. It can be done in many different ways. It's just that social media makes it so easy to share. I mean, all you're doing is you're clicking a button and it's off the races. And not only that, but if you're drinking excessively or you're going to the gym excessively, whatever it is, you're not going to get as much validation from those activities as posting one story and getting tens, hundreds, and thousands of likes in an hour or a day. So the amount of validation that you're getting from other people, and a lot of them are strangers as well, is staggering. It right away can boost up your mood, but you haven't done anything real. Do you understand? So you haven't actually boosted your self-esteem in working hard for something. All you did is take some photo of yourself while you're driving, and you got a bunch of people liking it. So you didn't actually accomplish anything real in the real world. So your self-esteem only goes down or stays at the level that it is when you're constantly posting. But if you actually stop posting so much and you actually are involved in what you're doing in the real world and you're actually working hard and achieving things in the real world, you're getting some success in the real world, that's what's going to really build up your self-esteem. And again, like social media will lower your self-esteem because, you're constantly going to have to rely on that dopamine hit to continue feeling good about yourself. You want to be very careful about how much you're posting, and you want to constantly ask yourself, why am I posting so much? What am I trying to get out of it? The whole purpose of what I talk about on this YouTube channel is you want to live a more conscious life. You want to understand why you're doing anything. And don't do something unless you understand why you're doing it. I'll post something sometimes, but I know exactly why I'm doing it. I'll give you an example. Like sometimes I'll post my popping practice as a story. And it's not that often, but I'll post myself practicing popping dancing. And, part of it is that I know some teachers that I'm working with will see that. And, I want them to see my progress. That's kind of what I'm doing this for. And so there's nothing wrong with posting sometimes, but be very intentional about why you're doing it, what you're trying to achieve out of it, and don't just post because you're bored and you need another sense of validation. By the way, I did a much longer and in-depth podcast before about the problem with social media. So you can go back to that video if you want to see all the issues with social media and also some of the remedies that I suggested. I'm not going to go into it here because I've already done it there, but there's going to be a link to it somewhere here in the video or down below in the description. Now, some of you might say, well, Leon, you're making such generalizations. Not everyone who posts a lot is unhappy. It is a generalization, but the whole point of having certain generalizations is that they help us to see certain patterns of behaviors or attitudes, beliefs that we have about the world that help us to hopefully better ourselves. So, a generalization like drinking a lot of alcohol is not good for you is also a generalization. Or not getting sleep is going to affect your mood and your next day. It's going to affect your productivity. That's also a generalization, but it is the case for most people. So I am talking about most people here. I'm not talking about the minority that perhaps they're posting things and it doesn't affect their self-esteem. I'm sure there's people like that. I'm talking about the vast majority of people. When you see them excessively posting, then I'm always going to question myself, are they actually happy in their real life? And usually the more they're posting and the more happy they look like they're having the most fun in their life, the more that's the case, the less I think they're actually happy in their real life. Because again, it comes across as overcompensating. Because when you're actually happy, you're not gonna need to post it constantly, or even if you are posting it, it's gonna be less intense or less filtered. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you think about this. Leave a comment below. I'd love to have a discussion about this. And otherwise, we're done for today. Like this video, share it with a friend who posts too much, and also subscribe to this channel for more.